Hello, my name is Andy. I am the Technical Services and Installations Engineer for Carrier SME. And today we're going to be talking about and training you how to use your 9611 IP phone. And first thing I want to show you about the phone itself is give you a brief description of it. The screen itself is all digital, and it is a color screen. Makes it a little bit different than the 9608, which is a little wider screen. Also, this phone has an internal gigabit switch, so if you are connecting from the wall to the phone and need to plug in your computer, it does have a built-in gigabit switch. Not much different as far as the 9608 between that phone and this phone, other than again the built-in switch and the or gigabit switch, because the 9508 does have built-in switch as well, but not a gigabit switch. But this particular phone, again with the color screen, it's a little more narrow than the 9508, so that's how you're able to tell right away the difference. Other than that, not much else in difference. But what I'll do is we're going to go through the features and functions of this phone and how you'll be using it in your environment. First thing to note is that when the call comes in, that it does ring, does light up there, tells you caller ID, and you pick up and say hello. Pick up the handset, say hello. Now, you don't have to press any buttons to pick up and answer the call. You can also pick it up by pressing the speaker option or speaker button. And you could hear the echo of the phone I'm using behind me. But if it rings, pick it up and answer it. The next item is when you're making an outbound call, well, actually an internal call to an internal extension, just dial the extension. Okay, not much else. Not very complicated at all. But the other option or another feature is when you're making an external outbound call, you must dial a 9 first to make an outbound call. So 9 in the number. So I do 9. Phone system then looks out on the network, or excuse me, not the network, but the lines available, and makes an outbound call and calls.
Morning. Today is Tuesday, November 11th.
So you can tell I made today's recording on November 11th. So again, outbound call, dial 9 in the number. Internal call, just dial the extension, regardless of what it is. All right. Fully capable and function as 911. So no need to worry. If you have an emergency, dial 911. The system will dial directly out to emergency services. If you dial 9 for an outside line and 911, same thing. It will still dial out. Moving on, let's talk about the different parts of the phone. It might be a little bit different. Many of you will probably notice that the 9611 has a USB port in the back. That's for other programming services, has nothing to do with the phone. Sorry, no uploading ringtones on this phone. There are some built-in tones to the phone, and we'll go over on how to change that and maintain it. Other item here is you can see these buttons on the right and left side of the screen. They correspond to the grid pattern that is on the screen. Let me bring this a little bit closer for you. So you can see here this red button that is red corresponds to what's here on the screen on an appearance line or appearance button. The buttons underneath, they correspond to these tabs that are on the bottom. So we have features on the bottom right hand side. On the left hand side I have redial, some numbers I've been dialing, and these are blank. Now keep in mind these will change depending on what you're doing. If you're in a call, this will actually change to hold, conference, transfer, and drop. So redial and features disappears, but those other options will show up. I've kind of titled that as live labeling. So as you're making a call, those features and options do show up. All right. Underneath that portion of it, we have our navigation button. This navigation button is useful when you're on a screen such as features. Now, you can certainly use the side buttons to make the option or pick up the option, so phone user in that portion of it, but you can see it is highlighted yellow here. So if we navigate using navigation buttons, go right and left, up and down, we can certainly access those options and features. Okay. You see here it says select. OK and select will do the same thing. So if I hit either one, it will then take me to the next page and next option. Alright. Now, I can also certainly hit back to go back and exit my screen. In the event that my phone starts ringing, however, it might be a little cumbersome to try and go back and remember where I'm at to get to exit. This phone button will take you all the way back out. So as I press that phone button, defaults back to the main screen, takes me back to the main screen, and there you go. You can see the caller ID and information if you need to jump back in a hurry. Now that also works for any of the features and options you're using, whether it's contacts, history, your voicemail, exit, or that phone button will default back out to the main screen. Our next little button here is Messages button. That's to access our visual voicemail. It is also used to transfer directly to voicemail, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later. But voicemail options and features, access that for visual voice, and I've created another video for voicemail, so we won't cover that, but I will demonstrate as far as transferring directly to voicemail. Okay. Next little options here, next buttons we have are contacts, home, and history. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the contacts button, bring it a little bit closer so you can see the screen and what's going on with the screen. Alright, so as I press contacts, built-in contacts will show up. Now, the first contacts it shows are the extensions of your system. People that are in your business, in your company, who have a phone. They will show up in here. So for example, my name, if we can type my name in here, and I'm going to show you. This phone is very, very intuitive. So as I dial my name, I can just do 26 for AN, 3 for D, and it's intuitive that way. So I'm going to type it in, you guys watch. So AND, and you see it changing, and if I jump down to Y, there's two of us Andys in this company. I jump in here, I can see the details and choose my name. Now I can press the button on the side to call myself. I can press call button down at the bottom, or I can see details about my extension or about that number. Alright, you can see my extension here, my system user, and so on. Alright, list details. We jump back to list. Now to get back, say I didn't want this guy, I wanted somebody else, I can certainly jump back, start typing a different name. Go over to my coworker, Ned. He's there. You can find him as well. Alright. Now, again, that's contact. That's your personal contacts. Excuse me, not your personal contacts, but your user contacts, the individual extensions. What I'm going to show you now is each phone is capable of up to 100 personal contacts. So as we come in here, we can press New, type in our own name. For example, I want the Coke guy, so he's one of my vendors, Coca-Cola. CC. Oops, I have to go back. So we're going to backspace there. So it's not intuitive that way. So I have to actually go ABC. O-K. Coke. We'll do a space. M-A. Man, Coke man. Okay. Number 9. Remember, we have to dial outside line for a 9. There you go. 55555. Hit save. Okay. Now that name is included in my contacts list. Now there's two things I can do. I can use the arrow keys, right and left. Okay. If I use that for right, I can go up and immediately see my personal contacts. However, from the all contacts, I can certainly bring him up by dialing C-O-K. Coke Man. There we go. Clear. I can do the same thing. I've got a pizza guy in here. P-I-Z-Z-A. There's pizza. So, personal contacts. Now, since they are personal, you have the opportunity to delete or edit them. So I'm going to delete the pizza guy because I don't like that guy anymore. And I'm done. Hit clear. I just jump back. So you can edit your own personal contacts in this. All right. In addition to personal, there's also external contacts, which are for the company-wide. So if the company has installed some contacts, whether it be a vendor, whether it be doctors, hospitals, clinics, and so on, those will be imported as well, made available to anybody. And there's a capacity of up to 1,000 external contacts. And if there is a particular contact that needs to be shared, please contact your manager and provide it. So with a list, we'll import those in. Okay, done with contacts. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this phone button, exit back out. We're back out to the main screen. Okay, let me come back to home. Let's talk about history. History is all our caller information. So all information, outbound calls, inbound calls, missed calls will show up in this list. I can use the arrow buttons to jump over missed calls, no entries. I haven't missed any calls today. All right. However, if I do miss a call, this history button will be lit up red. So it will be lit up for you. All right. Incoming calls. All incoming calls, I can see those here. All right. I see the cell phone number has called me. If I hit more up there, you can see it says plus contacts. I can add that individual to my contacts list. He keeps calling me, keeps bugging me. Well, might as well add him to the contacts. All right. Arrow over again, outgoing. All outgoing numbers I've called will show up here as well. Now it's the same list as that you will see in your redial list. So if I hit the phone exit button, jump back out, you'll see this redial button. If I hit redial, it's going to show me again the outcalling numbers that I've made, or the outgoing numbers. Alright, you can see there's quite a few here, so it will list quite a bit. Alright, so that's your history. Alright, let's talk about this home button. Home gives you the options in the phone to make some adjustments for it. I don't recommend you get network information, the VPN settings, and about the phone itself. But what we're going to concentrate on is the options and settings. Again, I like to hit the side button. It's entirely up to you. You can use the arrow key and scroll down back and forth, however you like to use it. But screen and sounds, we can do our own personalized ringing. Right now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. They call it rich tones, so you can hear your own different tone there. You can change it. Whatever you like there. You can, if you rather go back to the classic tones, that is if you prefer those. And again, back to the very beginning, I'm sorry, but no, you cannot import ringtones. Sorry. So I've saved it. I like my ringing. Now I can also change the brightness on my screen, so if it's too bright for me, or not bright enough, let's brighten it up a little bit. Okay. Button clicks, you can hear me clicking the buttons on. You can also change the error tones, so if you press the wrong button, it'll give you a tone for it. I don't change those just because just personal options. Call settings and so on. Please look at your manual for those. I'm not going to go over them. They're not applicable to what we're doing right now. But if you need to make any adjustments for your call settings. All right. Again, I can press this phone button, exit. Let's get out of there. All right. So we've gone over contacts, we've gone over home. What other buttons are on here? We have our headset button. All right. Those of you who are provided and lucky enough to have a headset, so as you make an outbound call and click that button on your headset, the headset button will engage and give you dial tone. It'll turn red here. Okay. Same thing here with speaker. So a call comes in, you can certainly answer it with your speaker. Microphone works very well on these phones. I'll warn you though, if you're in a cubicle setting or in an office shared and somebody walks in and was talking, they'll be able to hear it and disturb your call. So use that to your discretion. However, if you're in your office, if you're in a conference setting, you do a conference call, feel free. It'll do a good job for you. All right. On the other side here, we have our mute button, and mute just is mute. So as you're on a call, you press mute, it turns red. Of course, they can't hear you. You, of course, want to be polite, not say anything bad about the caller, just in case. I've heard a few horror stories about that. They forget to put them on mute. So use that to your discretion. Somebody walks in the office and needs to talk to you for a minute, go ahead and put them on mute. All right. Next button here, of course, is our volume control, excuse me. If your phone is sitting idle, it's your ringer volume. So you can turn that up and down as you need to. Okay. It's also your speaker volume. So if you need to turn that up and down. It's also your handset volume. Turn that up and down. All right. And your handset too. So you can adjust it for your handset as well. All right. All right. If I'm going too fast, let me know. You can always review this again. All right, let's talk about with the program buttons up here at the top, what they are, what they mean, what they're going to do for you. You notice on the screen we have our extension number, our time and date, and our name of our extension. Of course, it's going to be our own personal name on here. On the left-hand side, the buttons are labeled ABC Intercom, Park 1, 2, 3, and I have a twinning button here. You may or may not use twinning, mobile twinning, but again, this is just for demonstrating. Let's talk about A, B, and C here. A, B, and C represents how many calls that you're going to be able to take at one time. So as you get a first call, somebody calls into you. Okay, your first appearance is then used. Answer the call, say hello, it turns green. Alright. As a second call comes in, it's going to show up here on this next appearance. And a third call if you need it. Alright. Now, in many instances, that second call may not come in depending on the queues that are created. So many times with if you're in a call center setting, you won't get a second call coming in. Take care of the person in front of you, take care of this person. Let the phone system handle the calls that are inbound. All right. What we want to do is take care of that caller. Now, the second caller here might be one of two. It could be a direct dial extension, so somebody called you directly as you're on a call with a client or a customer, so it would show under that appearance. So be wary that you may receive a call, not necessarily from a customer, because depending on the queues. And you'll be explained this in your personal trainings or your live trainings. Okay. So again, A, B, and C. And the first appearance that's lit, this will always be lit up. All right. You can certainly choose a different appearance if you need to make that call. But usually the first one, A, is always lit up. All right. Let's talk about intercom. Now, intercom is usually it's a common feature that we program for our customers, and intercom is essentially just break into an extension and talk to that person in the office to see if they're in their office. So you might see this, receptionists use it, and so on. So what I'm going to do is dial an extension. The extension pops up, tell me that name. I hit call. Well, that person is apparently not available. because it rings. Okay? And then it sends me to
Hi, this
voicemail.
is Andy Fulmer.
So you can, as you can see, using intercom may or may not break into that extension. If it rings, that indicates that that person is on a call and not able to receive an intercom call. However, if I go to another extension, let's try Marjorie here. Marjorie, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, I'm just doing a demo. Just thought I'd call and do a intercom to you.
That kind of freaks me out. Hey.
All right. Talk to you later.
Everything's fun.
All right. So on their end, they will hear a beep. They'll hear double beep over their phone. So you're not breaking in, eavesdropping. You will hear a beep as that call goes in. So intercom call. All right. Park 1, 2, and 3. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But what I wanted to show you here are the different other functions of the phone. So let's go to a different screen. So we have a screen of 8 here. If we use our arrow key, we can arrow or go to the next screen. And as you can see here, I programmed some buttons. There are 3 screens on this phone. If we jump over to the next screen, there's no buttons programmed. So again, I just wanted to demonstrate the different buttons and features that we have for this particular phone. So we have record. So this is a manual record. So for this particular system, I press the record button while I'm on a call, and it will automatically record the call. You can see a group enable button here. On many types of systems that we install and program for, the user or a calling group, you can enable in and out of it, in and out of the queue. So you can receive the calls in the queue, so if you're part of that particular queue. The next one we have here, again for administrators mostly, is DND, which stands for Do Not Disturb. Once that's pressed, it will light up and stay lit up. You will not receive any calls, but the calls will be going directly to your voicemail. So if you have DND or Do Not Disturb engaged, it will automatically send the calls to voicemail directly. All right. Other buttons I have here, you can see are names. And those indicate, and you may have been noticing here, turning red or blinking red, that people are on the phone on those particular calls. So for example, this extension here, Andy Fulmer, is now, I can tell he's on a phone because it's flashing red. Now, you can call directly to those extensions by just pressing that number or pressing that button, and it will call directly to that person. All right. It's a good way to transfer as well. So as a transfer option comes up. The next item I want to show you is call handling, or as a call comes in, if you're going to be transferring conference or use our park slots. So as we have a call come in, okay, you can see here on the screen it says answer to voicemail, ignore, or drop. Ignore will turn off the ringing. So if you need to quickly speak to somebody, of course, answer to voicemail sends them directly to your voicemail. What we're going to do is we're going to answer the call, of course. We're going to be polite. Let's answer that call. You can see on the screen on this phone, 9600 series, 9608. The hold button, conference, and transfer and drop buttons are soft buttons, so which means here at the top, just below the screen. So if I need to place that caller on hold for a moment to look something up for them, puts them on hold, gives them, they can then, puts them on hold and gives them the hold music is what it does. So you see this next appearance is red now, ready to receive a call. So if another call comes in and meanwhile you've got this person on hold, to pick them back up, just press the hold button again. All right. You may have noticed once I hit hold, now these buttons change down here at the bottom, allowing me to use the different features of the phones. So as we pick them back up, let's do a transfer. So I want to transfer to somebody else. So I'm going to do that as do it on speaker for you. So Press transfer, gives me dial tone. I dial my next extension. Let's see here. Now it calls. Now I can complete it by pressing complete, or I can wait for this person to answer. Okay. So this person answered. I can talk to him and say, hey, look, I'm transferring a call to you. I press complete, or I hang up. Apparently I can't transfer to myself, but you get the idea. So as we transfer a call, press transfer, enter the extension, and hang up. And the call is then transferred. So that kind of transfer is a blind transfer. There's also an announced transfer. The next feature I want to demonstrate is using conference and doing an impromptu conference. The first thing we want to do is get the first person on the line. So whether they call me or I call them, doesn't matter. Make an inbound call. So I've got a call coming in. Now what I want to do is I want to add somebody to my impromptu conference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial outbound again with a 9. So I dial 9. Oops, excuse me. I guess I have to do conference first. So I press the conference button. Okay, it gives me dial tone. I call my next number. Okay, so I'm dialing. The phone system's actively dialing outbound. It's going to connect. Now we're connected. Once we're connected, we either with a ring or wait for the person to answer. I can then hit conference.
Today is Tuesday, November 11th. Central Bank Time, 1:42. Current temperature, 45 degrees.
Now with an impromptu conference, there's a couple of different things I can do here. You can see the 3 different people there. I have the opportunity, I can drop them or mute them depending on the customer or depending on the situation. So if there's a lot of background noise, I can mute that person. Or again, if they drop off, they drop off. And there's a couple of beeps that you hear on that. Sorry about that. Mute. So you can tell I'm working with a couple of different phones here. So conference, you can keep adding people. So we come back, we want to conference somebody else. I press conference, puts the other people on hold. I dial my next number, keep pressing conference until I add other people. The next feature we want to discuss is the difference between hold and park. So here we have park 1, 2, and 3. Now the difference is here, if we press hold, the call is immediately put on hold, of course. We can pick up that call at any time. However, no one else can see that call. So none of your coworkers, you can't pass that call along, unless of course you transfer it. But what we're going to do, instead of using hold, is use park. Again, park 1, 2, and 3. You see as the line flashes, now this parking slot is now made available to anyone. So I can go to any phone and pick up that parking slot. So just keep in mind, hold, press it once to pick it up. So hold is only on your phone. Park, everybody can see it. Alright, let's pick that back up. Oop. Pick up that park again. Now, one item about transfer, a couple items about transfer I want to go over with you, is when transferring a call, you can do a blind transfer or you can do an announced transfer. So a blind transfer is pressing the transfer key, entering the extension, whatever it might be, and just hang up. Alright, that's a blind transfer. It's going to either, somebody's going to answer it or it's going to go to their voicemail. Announced transfer, of course, we're going to be nice. Transfer, dial the number, wait for that person to answer the call, and then hang up. As you hang up, that call is then connected with the customer or the person that you called to transfer the call to. All right. You can also transfer directly to voicemail using the messages button. Again, here's the messages button. What we do is we have the caller there. We press messages. enter the extension. Okay, gives me the name of the person, and hit select, and then after I hit select, transfers directly to voicemail, does not ring the phone. So I hit select, the call hangs up on my end, and then the caller goes directly to voicemail. Alright, that concludes our training for the 9611 IP phone. Thank you very much.